My name is Margaret Hayes, and at 62 years old, I thought I'd seen every shade of my father's personality. I was wrong. The restaurant my father chose for my MBA graduation dinner was exactly the kind of place he loved. All dark wood paneling, leather booths, and waiters in bow ties who treated him like royalty. Reynolds & Co., a steakhouse in downtown Chicago that had been around since the 1950s. The March wind howled outside, rattling the windows, but inside it was warm, almost suffocatingly so. I arrived early, as I always did. The maitre d' led me to the private dining room my father had reserved, a space that could accommodate our party of 8 comfortably. "Congratulations on your graduation, Mrs. Hayes," he said warmly. "Thank you, Vincent. And please, it's Margaret." I smoothed down my navy dress, the one I'd chosen specifically for tonight. Conservative, but elegant. Professional. I wanted my father to see me as the businesswoman I'd become, not just his daughter who'd decided to go back to school at her age. My husband, Tom, arrived next, his kind eyes crinkling at the corners as he smiled at me. After 35 years of marriage, he could read my anxiety like a book. "Deep breaths," he whispered, kissing my cheek. "Tonight is about celebrating you." My 2 children, Sarah, 32, and Michael, 28, came in together, along with Michael's wife, Jennifer. Sarah had flown in from Seattle specifically for tonight. They all hugged me, their pride evident. This was why I'd done it, really, to show them that it's never too late to pursue your dreams. My father arrived precisely at 7 o'clock with my younger brother, David. Robert Hayes, Sr., was 78 years old, still standing 6 feet tall despite age trying to curve his spine. He'd built Hayes Manufacturing from the ground up 50 years ago, turning a small machine parts company into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. "There's the graduate," he announced, his voice filling the room. He kissed my cheek perfunctorily, then took his seat at the head of the table. The waiter took our drink orders, and my father ordered his usual, Macallan 18, neat. I ordered a glass of Chardonnay, trying to appear relaxed, even though my stomach was twisted in knots. I'd worked so hard for this moment, completing this MBA while working full-time. At my age, going back to school hadn't been easy. "So, Margaret," my father began once everyone had their drinks, "you finally finished that degree. Took you what, 3 years? 2.5, Dad. And I worked full-time throughout." He swirled his scotch. "I suppose that's admirable. Though I still don't understand why you needed it. You have a perfectly good job in HR at some tech company, don't you?" "I'm the Director of Human Resources at DataStream Solutions, Dad. I've been there for 12 years. Right. He waved his hand dismissively. "HR stuff, hiring and firing, making sure people don't sue the company. Important work, I'm sure, but hardly strategic." I felt Tom's hand tighten around mine. Sarah's eyes flashed with anger across the table, but I gave her a subtle shake of my head. I'd expected this. My father had never understood my career choices. The appetizers arrived: oysters, shrimp cocktail, Caesar salad. My father ordered for the table without asking what anyone wanted. "You know what's funny," my father continued, cutting into his steak once our entrees arrived, "is that you spent all that time and money on business school, and you still don't understand how real business works." David laughed nervously, always eager to stay in our father's good graces. He worked at Hayes Manufacturing as the VP of Operations. "What do you mean, Dad?" I asked, keeping my voice level. "I mean the real world, Margaret. The manufacturing world. The world of making things, of managing production lines. That's real business, not this modern tech nonsense with foosball tables and free lunches. DataStream Solutions is a multi-billion-dollar company with over 5,000 employees worldwide, Dad. I'd say that's pretty real business." He laughed, that condescending chuckle I'd heard my entire life. "Billions in what? Stock valuation? At Hayes Manufacturing, we make things you can hold in your hands. Parts that go into machines that build America. That's substance." I took a sip of my wine, counting to 10 in my head. Around the table, I could see my family's reactions. Tom looked furious, but was holding it in. Sarah had stopped eating entirely. Michael was staring at his plate, uncomfortable as always with family conflict. "Your mother would have been proud," my father continued, his tone softening slightly. "She always wanted you to finish your education, though she would have preferred you'd done it when you were younger, made something more of yourself career-wise." The mention of my mother stung. She'd passed away when she was 63, just a year older than I was now. She'd been my biggest supporter, always encouraging me to pursue my dreams. Mom was proud of everything I did, Dad. She told me so many times. Of course, a mother's love is unconditional. But let's be honest here. At 62 years old, what exactly are you going to do with this MBA? It's not like you're going to become a CEO or join some board of directors. You're nearing retirement age. The table fell silent. I felt tears prickling at the corners of my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not here, not now. Tom stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Robert, that's enough. My father looked genuinely surprised. In 35 years, Tom had rarely challenged him directly. Excuse me? You heard me. Margaret has worked incredibly hard for this degree. She graduated at the top of her class. Tonight is supposed to be a celebration, not an opportunity for you to diminish her accomplishments. I touched Tom's arm gently. It's okay, honey. Really? No, Margaret. It's not okay. Sarah's voice joined in, clear and strong. Grandpa, I love you, but the way you're speaking to Mom tonight is unacceptable. She's accomplished something remarkable, and instead of celebrating her, you're tearing her down. My father set down his fork with deliberate precision. I'm not tearing anyone down. I'm being realistic. The business world is tough, and I'm trying to prepare Margaret for disappointment. The job market isn't kind to people her age, MBA or not. I'm not looking for a new job, Dad, I said quietly. Then what was the point? He spread his hands wide. If you're staying in your current position, why bother with the degree? Was it just a hobby? I could have told him then. The words were right there, but something held me back. Maybe it was years of seeking his approval and never quite getting it. The point, I said carefully, was personal growth, professional development, proving to myself that I could do it. Proving to yourself. He shook his head. Margaret, you're 62 years old. You should already know what you're capable of. This need for validation at your age is, well, it's a bit sad, frankly. Michael finally spoke up, his voice tight. Grandpa, please stop. Stop what? Speaking the truth? Look, I love your mother. She's my daughter. But someone has to be honest with her. David tried to mediate, as he always did. Dad, maybe we should just focus on the positive. But my father wasn't finished. You want to know what real accomplishment looks like? David here is being promoted to Executive Vice President next month. He'll be overseeing all operations at Hayes Manufacturing with a 7-figure salary package. Now that's career advancement. David's face flushed red. Dad, tonight isn't about me. I'm just making a point. Real business advancement happens in the real business world, in companies that make actual products that contribute tangibly to the economy. I felt something inside me harden. For years, decades really, I'd sought my father's approval. And for years, I'd accepted his criticism, telling myself he was from a different generation. But tonight, something shifted. Maybe it was the culmination of 2.5 years of hard work being reduced to a hobby. Maybe it was seeing the anger on my children's faces. Maybe it was the realization that at 62 years old, I was still waiting for approval that would never come. The waiter brought dessert, but I'd lost my appetite entirely. The conversation moved on to other topics. My father holding court about Hayes Manufacturing's latest contract, about David's upcoming promotion. I participated minimally, responding when directly addressed, but otherwise retreating into my thoughts. Tom kept his hand on my knee, a steady presence. When dinner finally ended, my father insisted on paying the bill. As we gathered our coats, he pulled me aside in the restaurant's entrance foyer. Margaret, he said, his tone almost gentle, I hope you understand I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to protect you from disappointment. The business world is unforgiving, especially to people who are, well, later in their careers. I looked at my father, really looked at him. I saw the man who had built a successful company through determination, but I also saw a man who had never truly seen me, who had spent my entire life underestimating me. I appreciate your concern, Dad, I said, my voice steady, but I know exactly what I'm capable of. He patted my shoulder. Of course you do, sweetheart. As we walked out into the cold March night, Tom wrapped his arm around me. You okay? He asked softly. I will be, I said, and I meant it. Because what my father didn't know, what I hadn't told anyone at that table, was that in exactly 2 weeks, on April 1st, I would be starting a new position. Not at DataStream Solutions, not in human resources. In 2 weeks, I would be joining the board of directors at Hayes Manufacturing, my father's company. The irony wasn't lost on me. The cab ride home to our townhouse in Lincoln Park was quiet. Tom didn't push me to talk. The streetlights blurred past the window, the city alive even late on a Wednesday night. When we got home, Tom made us both tea. We sat in our living room, filled with family photos and memories. "You should have told him," Tom said finally. "I know. It would have stopped the whole thing." I sighed. That's exactly why I didn't tell him. I didn't want his attitude to change because of a title. I wanted him to be proud of me for what I accomplished, the degree itself, the hard work, not because it led to something he considers valuable. But it did hurt you, what he said. Of course it hurt. I felt tears finally starting to fall. I'm 62 years old, and I'm still seeking my father's approval like I'm a child. It's not pathetic, it's human. Tom moved closer. Parents shape us. Their opinions matter even when we wish they didn't. The truth was, the opportunity to join Hayes Manufacturing's board had come as a complete surprise. 3 months ago, I'd received a call from Patricia Morrison, the chairwoman of the board. She'd been tracking my career for years, impressed by what I'd accomplished at DataStream Solutions. Under my leadership, employee retention had increased by 40%, and we'd been named one of the top companies to work for 3 years running. Human capital is the most valuable asset any company has, Patricia had told me. Hayes Manufacturing is at a crossroads. The company is struggling with workforce issues, high turnover, low morale. The board believes you could help guide the company into the future. Does my father know about this? Patricia had smiled. The board operates independently of the CEO. We're required to inform him 2 weeks before public announcement, but not before. The vote was unanimous last week. When would I start? April 1st. We'll inform Robert on March 15th. That was next Monday, just 4 days away. This was an incredible opportunity, a chance to influence strategy at a major manufacturing company. The fact that it was my father's company made it complicated, but it didn't change the fundamental opportunity. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Mom, I'm so sorry about tonight. Grandpa was way out of line. You're amazing and I'm incredibly proud of you." Then Michael, "Sorry about Grandpa, Mom. You earned that degree and so much more." Their support meant everything. The next few days passed quickly. I went to work at DataStream Solutions, where my colleagues treated me with respect and valued my input. It was such a stark contrast to my father's dismissal. On Friday, I had lunch with my friend Carol, who'd been my college roommate. I told her everything about the dinner, about the board position I hadn't revealed. "Margaret," she said, "you have to stop letting him define your worth. You're accomplished, intelligent, and capable. You don't need his validation. I know that intellectually, but emotionally, it's harder to shake. When are you going to tell him?" "I'm not. The board chair will inform him on Monday as required. That's going to be quite a phone call for you afterward. Then prove him wrong. Go in there and be brilliant." The weekend passed quietly. Monday morning arrived cold and clear. I went to work as usual, my heart beating faster, knowing that sometime today, Patricia would be calling my father. The call came at 2:30 in the afternoon. My phone lit up with my father's name, and I stared at it for 3 full rings before answering. "Hello, Dad." There was a long pause. When he finally spoke, his voice was different, tight, controlled. "I just got off the phone with Patricia Morrison." "I see." Another pause. "Were you going to tell me?" I leaned back in my office chair, looking out at the Chicago skyline. "The board has protocols, Dad. You were informed according to those protocols." "That's not what I asked, Margaret. Were you, my daughter, going to tell me that you were joining the board of my company?" "Your company?" I couldn't help the slight edge in my voice. "It's publicly traded, Dad. You're the CEO, but you don't own it. Don't parse words with me. To answer your question, I wasn't sure how or when to tell you. I only found out about the board's decision a few weeks ago." "Before the graduation dinner?" "Yes. So you sat there at that dinner and let me go on and on about real business, about your MBA not leading anywhere. And you knew. You knew the entire time." "I did." "Why?" The single word carried so much. Confusion, anger, hurt, perhaps even admiration. "Why didn't you say something?" I stood up, walking to my window. "Because I wanted to see if you could be proud of me for the accomplishment itself, Dad. Not for where it led or what title it earned me, but for the work, the dedication. I wanted to know if you could value me without it being tied to a position you considered worthy. Silence. I could hear him breathing. I am proud of you, he said finally, his voice softer than I'd heard in years. I've always been proud of you, Margaret. You have a strange way of showing it. I know. He sighed, weary. I know I do. Your mother used to tell me that all the time, that I was too hard on you, that I didn't know how to show affection. I felt tears starting again. She was right. She usually was. He paused. Patricia told me why they chose you. Your track record, your expertise, your strategic vision. She said you were the unanimous choice of the entire board. I've worked hard, Dad. For 40 years I've worked hard. I know you have, and He stopped, the words clearly difficult. I'm sorry for what I said at dinner. I was wrong. I was dismissive and cruel, and you didn't deserve it. I sat back down, my legs suddenly weak. In 62 years, I could count on one hand the number of times my father had apologized to me. Thank you for saying that. Patricia also told me something else. She said when they approached you, you insisted on one condition. You insisted that you wouldn't accept if you felt the appointment was in any way charity or nepotism. You asked for documentation of the board's deliberation process, proof that you were selected purely on merit. I needed to know it was real, Dad. I needed to know I'd earned it. Of course you earned it. His voice grew stronger. Margaret, I've been foolish. I've underestimated you for years, and I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry. I wiped my eyes. I appreciate that, Dad. When do you start? April 1st, 2 weeks from today. Will you come by the office this week? I'd like to talk, really talk. I'd like that. And Margaret, your mother would be incredibly proud, not just of the board position, but of the woman you've become. You're stronger than I ever gave you credit for. After we hung up, I sat in my office for a long time. I thought about my mother, wished she could have been there to see this moment. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind. The official announcement went out. The press picked it up, a feel-good story. I received congratulatory calls from colleagues and friends. Sarah flew back to Chicago the weekend before I started. Michael and Jennifer took us all out to dinner, to the same restaurant where my graduation dinner had been held. My father joined us, and this time, the tone was entirely different. I'd like to propose a toast, he said, standing with his scotch raised, to my daughter, Margaret, who has proven that it's never too late to achieve your dreams, to break barriers, and to show old fools like me that we don't know everything. He looked directly at me. I'm proud of you. I should have said it years ago, but I'm saying it now. I'm incredibly proud of the woman you are. I raised my glass, tears flowing freely. Thank you, Dad. On April 1st, I walked into Hayes Manufacturing as a board member for the first time. Patricia Morrison met me in the lobby, walking me through the building, showing me to the boardroom. You ready for this? She asked. I looked around the space, the long table, the leather chairs, the walls lined with photos of the company's history. I'm ready, I said. And I was. Not because my father had finally approved, though that helped. Not because of the title. I was ready because I'd earned this position through decades of hard work, through never giving up. I was ready because at 62 years old, I'd finally learned that the only approval I truly needed was my own. My father and I still had work to do on our relationship, but it was a beginning. When I presented my first initiative at my first board meeting, a comprehensive workforce development program, he listened, really listened. That's excellent work, Margaret, he said in front of the entire board. Exactly what this company needs. As I left the building that first day, the spring sun warm on my face, I texted Sarah. First day down, it was perfect. Her response came immediately. Of course it was. You're amazing, Mom. I looked back at the Hayes Manufacturing building. My name was now on the board of directors plaque in the lobby. Margaret Hayes, not Robert Hayes' daughter. Just Margaret Hayes, board member, earned through merit and hard work. At 62 years old, my career wasn't ending. It was just getting started. And that dinner, where my father had mocked my achievements, it became a story I told not with bitterness, but with understanding. Because sometimes the people who should see us most clearly need the longest time to adjust their vision. My father saw me now, and more importantly, I saw myself.